Hi, we're back, and today we'll be talking about a different element in your research process. Today we'll be talking about collecting your data. Of course, if you decide to use a quantitative method, it means that you'll be using some kind of data instrument to collect your data, and this data that you collect is going to be analyzed quantitatively. Now, if you chose a qualitative method, you would be using a different method to collect your data, and you'll be using a non-numeric method. Most persons who chose a qualitative method, they either collect their data from interviews or they do focus groups, and very often the researcher may use a case study, a single case study, or a multiple case study. In this instance, the instrument that the researcher uses is determined by the kind of study, the design of the study. If he's using, if he's going to do a case study, then there would be either an interview guide, because you may be interviewing persons in this case study, or you may be doing participant observation where you're in the setting pretending to be one of the persons who should be there and you're making notes. So your analysis is going to be different. When you use a qualitative method, your analysis will generally be done by what is called thematic coding. And of course, coding means you're assigning codes, numbers to each response. And we say thematic because as you review your data collected, you will be required as a researcher to identify specific themes. A theme could be love, a theme could be anger, a theme could be fear. Depending on what you're studying, you identify themes coming out of the responses that you get. And so you do what you call a thematic analysis based on the information that you've gathered. On the other hand, where the researcher decides to use a quantitative method, very likely, in fact, you're 99.9% likely to be using some kind of statistical software to analyze your data. The very common software which is used by students all across the world, not only students but also corporate entities, is Spss. Spss means Statistical Package for Social Scientists. Now, this is an analytical type software. It's a spreadsheet, and it allows you to enter your data from your data instrument in rows, and each row represents a case, and the intersection between the row and the column is the cell specific in a case specific to a particular variable. We did not introduce the word variable. A variable is usually anything that you measure for which the responses can vary, and that is why we call it a variable. So gender, for example, is a variable, and it can vary. You can be male or you can be female. In the case of Spss, we enter numbers. Spss cannot generally analyze words. It works with numbers. And because we use numbers, it is very easy for us, as is required in quantitative analysis, it's easy for us to produce statistical tests, to run these tests and produce our statistics. So we may produce what we call descriptive statistics, which are the type of stats that will describe the data, right? So it's like mean, averages, those are simple description. We might have minimum values, we might have maximum values, we might have standard deviation. Those are statistics which describe your data. And then the software allows us to do further analysis. We may be able to do cross tabulations, we may be able to do multiple regressions, we may be able to do correlations, we may be able to do Other statistical tests such as chi-square test, which is a test of association between two variables or among more than two variables. So today, this is our quick discussion on selecting your sample, collecting your data, and analyzing your data. Don't forget to like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends, and importantly, subscribe.